Aisha, hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Doone. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, and it's definitely a pleasure to be here. I'm going to tell everyone that we have just been laughing to the point of tears because of your headphone situation right now.
I
If anyone's
know.
if anyone's on YouTube checking this out, there's some interesting headphones in the mix that I'm quite a fan of, to be honest.
I like yours. I mean, see, if I had to wear headphones, I'd want to wear bedazzled headphones, not my 12-year-old son's gaming headphones. But you know what? Technical issues be damned. I've got my lipstick on, my eyeliner on, I'm ready, and we're all about getting things done. So whether it doesn't complement my outfit or not, we move forward.
I'm into it. I'm into the clash. And you do absolutely look fantastic. Would you like to give us a little bit of introduction to who you are, what your brand is, and the ethos behind it?
Absolutely. So, as you said, my name is Aisha Fatima Dozie. Everybody calls me Aisha. I am founder and CEO of Bossy Cosmetics, which is one of the great honors of my life to get to work on something that sits at the intersection of my own purpose and my passion. Prior to starting Bossy Cosmetics, I think it's important to say this, 'cause and then it'll tell you really why the company exists. I was a 20-year veteran as an investment banker, and people think, okay, investment banking, she's a woman of privilege, but not at all. That is not how my life started, not at all. Actually, I was, raised with very meager means, but through a series of luck and hard work and tenacity and grit and resilience and all of those good things, had this career, but burnt out at the end of it. I'm also a mom of three sons. And one of the key lessons I learned along that 20 some odd year journey of trying to multitask and really climb this ladder of accomplishment was that most of the things that you need are self-built. You are enough. And many times as women, we feel like we need just that one extra class, that one extra job, that one extra referral before we're ready. And my one of my biggest learnings is that, you know what, you're enough. When we're 50% of the way, we're actually probably 100% of the way already. And so one of my biggest lessons learned over my career is that confidence hacks are super critical in getting you to get the confidence to do what you need to do. And one of my biggest ways of building confidence was actually wearing lipstick. It was my thing where I would hide behind a color. And that would be my thing. I'd wear a bold red when I had a customer meeting because I wanted people to really notice me when I was speaking. Or I would like have a smoky eye. It was always my thing. And I called it war paint, putting on war paint that kind of let me know, okay, game on, let's go. And so, why does Bossy Cosmetics exist? I wanted to share kind of the background because our unique insight is that we exist solely to ignite confidence in women who self identify as being ambitious. And we do that through high performance cosmetics. We are focused on high performance women. And that's what we do. I saw that as a complete white space in the beauty industry where everybody was focused on just products, 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 products. But I didn't feel like any single company spoke to the woman behind her face. And so that's what Bossy Cosmetics does. We make great products for your face, but we really want to engage and empower you to look good, to feel good, and to do good.
Amazing. I love it so much. I'm so excited to dig into the background of this story more. Take me back to pre 2018, before you launched, and this moment of you kind of like feeling burnt out at work and like what the actual transition was there to starting an actual business.
So yeah, I burnt out and I was feeling ill. So it didn't happen. It wasn't one sort of grand day where I burnt out. I had been feeling ill, but I thought it was just, busy, so many things. You kind of, again, as I said, I'm a mom of three kids. At the time, I was running investment banking for the West Africa region for the largest African bank. So I was really busy and I was traveling all of the time. So I thought, I'm just tired. I didn't really pay attention. And then one day I felt so ill, I rushed to the hospital. And my doctor basically said, listen, you have high blood pressure. You are severely hypertensive. And my father, years before that, had passed away from heart failure. And so for me, that was just like a come to Jesus moment of, honey, there's no job, there's no lifestyle, there's no amount of money worth running yourself to the ground. Who's going to raise your three babies? And so that was my moment of, okay, this is not just sort of grinding through being tired, which a lot of women do, right? We're feeling exhausted, we're feeling kind of ratty, but we just show up every day for our family, for our kids, for work, for everything, but we forget ourselves. And so for me, that was an abrupt call. I quit my job, took a year off, moved to California, which is where I live now in Palo Alto. And I was very fortunate to be accepted to a fellowship at Stanford called the Distinguished Careers Institute. And I spent 1 year on Stanford's campus, really in the design school, unlearning, relearning, rethinking, reimagining my career, my life, like what I wanted my legacy to be, what success actually meant, and how you navigated from success to what I wanted to reimagine as a significant life as opposed to a successful life. And so it was that whole year, there was just so much thinking, so much thinking, so much immersion in so many different experiences. And one thing that's really great about being over 40 is that I got to do this with 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. So I got to just really immerse myself in this sort of new Gen Z way of thinking. And I really wanted to try something different. I wanted to rip up the script that had been given to me many years ago. And that's how Bossy started.
I want to ask a little interjection question before we go on here. When you were going through this period and you were thinking about what means, a significant life to you and like what does success look like, what are some of those things? Like what were you thinking?
So I think when I graduated from undergrad, I was obviously not thinking about pursuing passion because I had, hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans. So I was only thinking about finances. And one of the blessings of my life then, fast forward 20 years later, is that I didn't have student loans. I had a very different life from 20 years before. And so I wanted to not be focused entirely on money. And I want to be careful how I say this because Bossy Cosmetics is not a nonprofit. It exists for profit. And I really do believe in capitalism, but I didn't want my sole purpose to be chasing money. And so the process was really, how do you do something that you think you are so unique for? So you know how we talk about product market fit? I wanted it to be founder market fit. I wanted it to be something that when people who knew me, when I talked about what I was doing, it was like, oh, we can completely see.
Yeah,
right?
we get it.
We get it. We know it. We see it. Whether you agree with the business idea or not, it is so in line with who I am, with my struggles, with my challenges, with my successes, with my philosophy. Because what I wanted to do was to show up to work every day and be completely jazzed, be completely natural, be completely authentic. And you do that when you have such a strong fit with the product or the service or the business. So that was really what it was. It was this process of unlearning, relearning. Who is Aisha? Like, where do I exist in a state of flow? Like, when have I been working that I've been so like, I don't even know when hours have gone by? What are those things I was doing? So it's really kind of taking a cake and deconstructing it to the ingredients and how you make it and how you bake it and all those things to get that beautiful cake. That was my 1 year of how do I deconstruct myself?
Wow, that's so powerful to like really, look internally and do that deep searching to figure it out. And also having the courage to obviously go after it as well. That's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Sometimes I say it's courage. Sometimes I say it's craziness.
It's the CCs. What was the aha moment that you were like, it's going to be lipstick, it's going to be beauty, it's going to be cosmetics? What was the moment for you?
So I was on a walk. Crazy. It doesn't make any sense, honestly. I was on a walk. It really doesn't make any sense because it's almost like I always say I have these two women who live in my body. One's name is Beyonce. The other one's name is Rachel. And Beyonce is like my hype woman. And Rachel's like the negative Nelly. She's always telling me like, you can't do this. That doesn't make any sense. Da, 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 da. So I'm on this walk and Beyonce, Rachel, and I are having this chat. And I'm like, Beyonce is like, forget money. What is it that you love, right? Like if you say that you want to sit at the intersection of your purpose and your passion, let's talk about purpose. What do you think your purpose is? And I felt like my purpose was to really dig into women, like helping women believe that they are fire, like helping women understand what the pay equity gap is and how do we close it, and believing that you do deserve to be paid exactly what a man is being paid. Like, I just wanted to spend time with women, encouraging women, but ambitious women, and pushing them to even own that moniker. Like, a lot of women find calling themselves ambitious to be negative. So that was what I was like, this is my purpose, is to really coach, inspire, help women to aspire to just the next thing for themselves and to collaborate with one another, not to compete. So when I dug into it, that was the stuff that I really enjoyed. And then when I thought about my passion, the first thing, if you can see is color, right? Like, I am super colorful. Like, if you see me in all black, like, check if everything's okay. I love reds and blues.
You're my kind of woman.
I love color. Like, if you go to my living room downstairs, there are massive paintings, every color in the rainbow. Color just makes me feel alive. It wakes me up. It's just, and I love wearing color. It helps me kind of, as I said, the war paint, right? And so when I thought intersection of purpose, working with women, passion, colorful, I was like, what's the most colorful thing you have? And it just hit me, lipstick on my walk, right? And that was when I was like, and honestly, when I came up with this aha moment, it wasn't, I'm going to create a $1 billion brand that sells lipsticks. It wasn't. It was, I'm going to do a project around getting women to ignite confidence in themselves through lipstick. That's all I'm going to do. It was just, I'm going to have fun. I'm not even thinking about a business, not thinking about a brand, not thinking about big, big, big. I'm just going to go out there and do what I think is my purpose, which is to inspire women and get women to see the magic within themselves. And I'm going to do it through lipstick, which is why my lipsticks have, like the lipstick I'm wearing now is called Focused, or like we have names called Inspiring, Ambitious, Driven. Like, all of our products are literally odes to power women and the essential products that she needs in her life.
Oh my gosh, I just feel it. I feel it in everything that you're saying. I'm so inspired. Holy moly, so cool.
That's the point. That's the job.
I love it. I love it so much. I want to understand this early phase of you deciding to start this business. What is going on? Like, how do you create a lipstick brand? What are the steps?
Yeah. So I definitely stumbled into all of that. Like I said, I mean, I didn't sit down and do like detailed market research and analysis and all this stuff to get to lipsticks. I just realized, listen, I love lipsticks. I know a lot of women love lipsticks. The beauty industry is a $750 billion growing industry. I don't think women are ever going to stop wearing makeup. And in fact, many men are wearing makeup now. And so I think the industry is growing. And so, and then I realized also, just from my own user habits and talking to a lot of people, holding focus groups, that, lipstick is the category that women are most willing to try out new brands. They won't for complexion, for like, they have that foundation, that's their thing. They have that blush, that's their thing. They have that mascara, that's their thing. But like lipstick, a woman will have like 10 different brands in her drawer and they're all red, but she like has a whole bunch. So I was like, that's the place you need to start, where customer loyalty is super low, because that's where I'm not an influencer, I'm not a celebrity. That's where the average woman is going to be willing to give you a chance.
That is so cool. What a great little pearl of wisdom there. I love that.
Yeah, it was a little bit of intuition, personal interest, with that whole fit notion, with where do you think strategically you can start to kind of chip away, right? Given what you don't have, which is I didn't have a massive budget. I didn't have influencer status or celebrity or access to any of those things. But social media is free, right? So I was like, okay, let's just start small. And like I said, it wasn't a goal to build this amazing brand at the time. It was just, what can you do? Like, when you actually try this purpose meets passion, where do you get?
That is so cool. And so what is happening in the beginning? How do you develop a lipstick company? Like, what are those early kind of tactical steps to bringing this brand up until the point of launch?
So I think a couple of things which are obvious and a couple of things which were not obvious that I lived to regret.
Love the not obvious.
Yes, which I'm like, please don't make the same mistake I did. So I think the first thing was just naming the company for me. And as I said, this happened on a walk. I always love to kind of be a little cheeky, because I feel like if you kind of like poke people, it makes them think. And so I had always been called bossy when I was young because I was always chitter chattering and always had something to say and, just always wanted my voice to be heard. And I've always known that for young girls, when young women are vocal about things, we're called aggressive, we're called annoying, we're called, we can be called emotional, we're called bossy. But if it's a young man, oh, he's assertive, he's a go-getter, he's a natural leader. And so I wanted to kind of, again, be cheeky and like reclaim that word and say, listen, this is a call to arms, babes. Like if you have been called bossy, let's have a chat about something was seen in you very early, and I want you to reclaim and own that voice. And so I picked the name, did no research. I was like, okay, calling the thing Bossy Cosmetics.
I have so
I
many questions on this, by the way.
Oh
I
yeah,
hope you're
because
going there.
yes, that's where I'm going
Okay.
because I did not do any searches for other people who have the name. I did not do any trademark work. I did nothing. I literally very naive on the walk, picked the name, did an online competition. I think it cost like $99 to design the logo. Our first logo was super, super ugly, super ugly. But I've always loved the color rose gold. So I knew it had to have rose gold in it. So that was the only guidance I gave. And it kind of had like a lip in it because I knew it was going to be lipstick. So, I mean, super ugly maybe is an exaggeration. That's not fair. It wasn't very nice. Let's put it that way. So I
You've
did a
evolved.
90, I've evolved. Yes. So I did this cheap sort of, make a logo, name a company, and then I was like, okay, where are we going to get the lipsticks from, the actual product? And so I started talking to people about, do you know any of the industry groups that one needs to be a part of? So I joined Cosmetic Executive Women's Group. I joined a bunch of different trade groups and started going to trade shows and then just started connecting with people and learned about a private label manufacturer here in California. So our first collection, and one of the things that was very important to me was obviously that they were cruelty free. I wanted to have clean products. And then I also wanted to because I am a Black woman, and in America, there is this general assumption that if you are a Black woman, you only make products for other Black women. And it's something that I've talked about a lot, super frustrating. I don't like it, but unconscious bias exists. But I wanted to create a range that was truly inclusive, where you could find colors that you loved. And every woman between you and I wanted it. I wanted the brand to defy ethnicity, to defy hue, to defy undertones. I wanted it to be truly, truly welcoming because the definition of an ambitious woman defies all of those things. And so I needed to find a private label manufacturer that had that range. And so I found one. And honestly, Doone, like, this is it. Like, I literally was like, okay, you make these products, let's sign this contract, let's go. I had my logo, slapped the logo on it, set up a bunch of social media accounts, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And I got to work and I just started. That's the beautiful thing about social media. And I was very insecure. I have to say, my life as an investment banker, I was never called to be a marketer, right? Like you don't do B to C marketing. You're dealing directly with super large corporations. So the marketing muscle is very different. So I took Google Analytics courses online. I took Google marketing courses. I took Facebook marketing courses, digital marketing courses online. I was teaching myself everything.
You were teaching yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I was just learning as I was going along. I really don't want this to seem like I did not have a business plan or anything. I think my first order of products, once I found the company that I said made the clean products and had I got to pick the range of colors that I liked. We started with liquid lipsticks, lip glosses, and lip liners. Once I found the range that I liked, we had the logo. I set up a company called Bossy Cosmetics to own the brand and all of these things. And then I set up social media pages and just kind of started saying, speaking to the message, right? Like the product, but also the message. And what I found was people were like, this is cool. We love it. This is cool. We love it. We love the products. The products are great. They're high performing. They're beautiful. Like white women, Asian women, Indian women, Black women, different women. Like it started to the market testing. I always tell people, like, don't spend too much time thinking because go out there, the market will teach you. And the market was telling me this is really interesting. We like this, we like that. Have you made these types of products? Or they and people started telling me, your logo, can't really see the logo on this. And one person who ended up becoming my lead designer now sent me an email and said, your logo is ugly. It is not befitting. She
Literally ugly.
Literally, she's a French woman who is now like one of my best friends. Sent me an email through Cosmetic Executive Woman. She's like, I've heard about your brand. Oh my God, I love what you're building. I think that's such a wide space in the beauty industry. Nobody thinks about how to bring ambitious women together through products. I love what you're doing. She had worked for about 15 years at that time between Chopard and Givenchy and Lancôme. And she's like, but your design aesthetic is awful, and it hurt because she was right. Right? Like I read that email and I was like, who the hell does this woman think she is? And then I went back and looked at everything and I was like, ugh. Like I have some of the stuff and I'm like, not maybe. I was like, she is right. So I emailed her and I was like, all right, let's talk. And she's like, I'm in Paris. I'm like, I'll fly out. Let's meet.
Oh my God, I love that. I have so many questions up until this point. So let's take a hot second to dig into a few things. Number one, bossy as a word in beauty, trademarking. Was it difficult?
So I'll make this without going, because we can talk about this for 10 years. It was very difficult. And we've only just now gotten trademark approval on a trademark name that is Bossy by Aisha too. So when I initially started, I tried to trademark Bossy by Aisha. That was my goal. And we had gotten conditional approval. And at the very last minute, a woman-owned company that uses the word bossy. Now, if you Google bossy in beauty, I mean, there's like 1,000 companies. Be bossy, bossy bee, bossy girl, bossy this. I mean, it's such a common word. Like I said, I didn't do any research. I just went ahead with it. It is so common in beauty. So another woman-owned business, sadly, sent me a cease and desist letter that she was going to challenge Bossy by Aisha. And I added by Aisha because I thought it would make it distinctive. Anyway, so I'm not going to go into the whole legal drama, but in the end, she dropped her lawsuit against us. I dropped Bossy by Aisha as a result of her attacking us, but she dropped her lawsuit. And so then I went back again to do Bossy by Aisha too, which is my full name. But interestingly enough, in the UK, I applied for Bossy Cosmetics. I got it. And then I proceeded to apply for Bossy Cosmetics in the EU, at which point Hugo Boss woke up and decided.
This is where I was like, let's talk about Hugo Boss, because Hugo Boss is known to be a bloody hound with this word.
They are awful. They are awful. I'm currently still in negotiations with them. The good thing is, I had the fright of I've never received a cease and desist letter. And I think when you watch the movies, you think it's like the end of the world when you get it, but in reality, it's not. So when I first got it, you know what I mean? Like it's a 6-page letter that's delivered to your house and a copy an email. And you think you're going to jail and your company, like you think all these negative things, like my house is going to be taken, my children will be destitute and all these things. So when I got it, I was like weeping and crying. I was like, oh my God, like and by the way, I will never forget the date. It was April 8th, 2020. So we are literally just in the beginning of the pandemic. I have put every red cent of my savings into a whole new collection that was designed by this French woman I just told you. Like we took it up 1,000 notches based on me now hiring her to redesign the logo. We got a design studio. Like we took the business up several notches. I put every last dollar into this whole redesign. Go to France and Italy, meet new supply chain. Everything is spent. And then the pandemic happens. So my goods, and I mean, what are you going to do? Start calling people in Northern Italy when they're dying? No. Start calling people in China when China's shut down? No. So I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, new products, and I get the cease and desist letter. And I don't even know when those products are arriving because we're a pandemic. So I was beside myself. I can't begin to explain how devastating. I actually wrote this woman several letters asking her, please, let's have a negotiation. Let's have a conversation. If you and I speak woman to woman, we can definitely come to an understanding. She refused to speak to me. I mean, her lawyer was literally awful. I mean, he accused me of trying to destroy her business. He called me a fraud. Just all sorts of things. It was really, it was really awful. And I remember it got to June during the whole George Floyd situation. And I wrote her another letter saying, listen, I'm a Black mother. I'm dealing with a lot of stress right now. I don't even have these products that you're telling me that I can't sell. This company may be bankrupt any moment. Like, can you just give me a minute? Let's have a conversation. Let's speak. She refused to speak to me. And I think what that did for me, and I want to send this message to any entrepreneur, is sometimes you do have options, because I think that the meanness and the lack of empathy and the lack of soul in responding to me made me say, F this, I'm going to fight you. So I stopped deciding to change my name, right? Because I immediately capitulated. I was like, okay, I can't. The world is coming to an end. I'll change the company's name, but please give me 2 years to sell the existing inventory that hasn't even arrived. And she was saying no. And so once I saw how awful she was, I was like, let's go to court. Each day we were supposed to show up to court, she never showed up. So yeah, anyway, so that's how that went.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that it actually ends in going to court. Like, I just kind of thought it was all figured out, like, over the internet.
Was supposed to go to a tribunal. I wrote, I think she probably saw, well, it's public record, so I won't talk about it, but I wrote a letter to the tribunal about how our brands have no overlap whatsoever. And of course, at this point now, as luck would have it, we are getting so much press.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting so much press. Nobody is confusing our brands. I mean, if you visit her brand and my brand, you will never mistake us, right? So her argument was laughable. And I put the laughability in a document and I filed it with the court. She never showed. The court gave her an additional 30 days. She didn't show. So here's another message to female entrepreneurs. Women are not always going to be your partner, but guess what? Fight. If you believe in yourself, fight. And what I did at the time, we didn't have the capital to hire a big lawyer. I did this myself. Like that 5-page document, I wrote it myself. I went and studied what are all the legal codes and everything. I did it myself.
Oh my God, wow.
Of course, now, December 24th, the day before Christmas comes, I get a letter from a law firm representing Hugo Boss. Now, you're not going to fight those guys that way. So this was...
yeah, that's a different fight.
That's a different issue. And so at that point, why I brought up her case was I'd already cried all the tears. I'd already been so petrified of losing this business that had now felt like my fourth child, that I had become so connected to, that consumers were loving, and that I was telling women to be confident, to go out and fight for themselves. And it kind of felt like I was in a fight for the brand. And so by the time I got Hugo Boss's letter, I was almost like, all right, let's go. I didn't shed a single tear. And so we then went through a 1-year negotiation, right? And they are heavy, as you know, they are mean, they are aggressive. I have to say that their lawyer that I worked with is actually a really wonderful person. He's actually really nice. Unfortunately, he's against me, but and he's got to do his client's bidding. But I had all those negotiations by myself because, again, I did not have the capital to hire a fancy UK, law firm. I hired French lawyers to change a lot of the filings in Europe, and I basically asked Hugo Boss, what do you need to be able to sleep at night, where I get to keep Bossy, because you don't make color cosmetics. Like, I'm not hurting you. So what do we need? So we ended up agreeing on going back to Bossy by Aisha too. And if I had that as distinctive, they felt that it wouldn't, infringe upon their boss. And they told me that they were very concerned around fragrances. That was really their business. And I said, fine, I'll never make a fragrance that uses the word boss. And so I ended up trademarking my name, Aisha too, in Europe, in the UK, and in the US. And then I ended up applying for the trademark of Bossy by Aisha too. And so now I own Bossy by Aisha too and Aisha too in Europe, in the UK, in the US, I own Aisha too, and Bossy by Aisha too. I should get it by the end of this year. It's now been approved and we're using it on our new packaging. And so it has been the most expensive, heart-wrenching, anxiety-riddled journey of my life. Just last week, I got an email from the Hugo Boss lawyer, and I had such a bad day. Like, whenever I see his name in my mailbox, it sends me into a tizzy. Do I think it was worth it? I don't know. I think what I will tell founders is don't do something as stupid as I did, which is, just go for a walk and come with the name, incorporate the company and get going, but like I said, I wasn't thinking that far. I was just like, this will be fun. Let's see how it goes. And then as it started to go, I was like, oh, we're going to build $1 billion brand. Let's go. And then I was like, oh, so let's trademark it really quickly. And then I realized, oh, it doesn't work that way. So we kind of patched our way into it. And I'm just grateful now that we have the Bossy by Aisha 2 brand. And I feel like, yes, it is distinctive. We also have the Aisha 2 brand. So we'll play around with how we use that. But I feel super powerful that I fought these two people.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is so impressive. Like, so impressive.
I don't know. And when you saw me crying, you wouldn't have been impressed. There were a lot of tears, lots and lots and lots of tears.
But you just must know so much about like this side of business now. Like, this must also just be a huge learning growth point for you too as a person.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost feels like one of the things that it's done is like really increased my faith because again, I felt like I was in the David and Goliath battle. Like, I mean, Hugo Boss' goal I read the other day is to get to revenues of £4.5 billion. I mean, I'm the rounding error. Hugo Boss, okay? I don't know how I could even be on their screen and for them to have this kind of, focus on destroying me. And so it almost felt deceitful for me not to have the fight. And I was prepared to lose the fight as well. But I mean, prepared, you don't have a choice if you lose it. But I thought, if this is what you really were talking about when you talked about the intersection of purpose and passion, and you talked about igniting confidence in women, and so you will ignite this confidence in yourself and you will fucking fight. And if you lose, you will tell the story of your loss. Like, as far as you have your body, your soul, your mental health, and you have your family, you have your children, you've got all the people who love you, you haven't lost. Like, you fought valiantly and you move on to the next thing.
And I also think that these stories really, like, it becomes part of your journey and it becomes part of your, like, story that you put out into the world. Like, I've also heard of the founders of Midday Squares. They had an acquisition offer from Hershey's that they denied. And then 30 days later, or maybe a bit longer, a few months later, Hershey comes knocking on their door with a cease and desist. And it's like, you have to change your whole brand. And like, they just turned it into such a positive because they were like, we're actually not going to fight it. We're going to absolutely use this as part of our story, part of our journey, document everything all online. And of course, that makes people fall in love with them and away from the big guy. And it is a point of like difference to your story, like 100%. That is crazy. Crazy stuff. Oh my God. Wow. Thank you for sharing. I want to go back to kind of that earlier piece of like, you've launched, things are kind of taking off. You're getting a lot of great reception from everyone. I love to understand kind of the money piece, like how much you kind of invested to get the brand off the ground and like how you were thinking about financing the brand moving forward, knowing that building a CPG brand requires so much working capital.
Oh, God, yes. So, like I said, I started with I think my first order was like $2,500. Okay. That's what I ordered to start the company. So super, super, super small. Now we're in the hundreds of thousands, right? But we started with just, all right, let's buy 50 of this color, 25 of that color, like super, super small. So that was manageable. And then, of course, I told you I meet my lead designer, Stephanie, and we go to Paris. And then she takes me to like we go and we visit all of the major primary packaging manufacturers in Europe. And I'm now
the
just
dream's
seeing
becoming a lot
the
bigger.
dream is like goes. I mean, literally the dream ballooned. And I was like, wait, we can do this, Stephanie. Like, we can do this. I can do this. Like, this is, again, igniting confidence. Like, I started to say, why can L'Oreal do it and I couldn't? Why could Louis Vuitton do it and I couldn't? Why could Estee Lauder do it and I couldn't? Like, shit, I can do this. Had no money to do it, but I still was. And so I think it was just Stephanie believing in me, and then meeting some of these amazing producers who produce for Givenchy, for Gucci, for Pat McGrath, for Charlotte, like the majors, meeting with me and saying, okay, yeah, like we can work with you. You're an indie brand. We don't produce such small quantities, but we can work with you. I was like, okay, it was almost like, you know what, Aisha, like, let it rip. Let's go for it. And so, like I said, I was ordering 50 sticks at this time. And these guys are telling me minimum order quantity is 10,000, right? So I'm just thinking, how? But this is again my point around faith. I was like, go big or go home. And this is why I said I put every red cent that I had into the company. And then I also, what was really fortunate for me, and I'm almost getting emotional saying this, is that I had friends start to call me up and say, I love what you're doing. Anything you want to do, I want to support you. What can I do? And so I had people saying, let me give you 5,000. Let me give you 10,000. Let me give you 25,000. And those thousands, they bloody add up. And then a gentleman I respect greatly, he was a colleague of mine at Stanford. He sits on the board of many companies. He was the CEO of Jamba Juice, so he knows retail. He calls me up and he says, I believe you can build $1 billion brand. I want to support you. Not only am I going to give you some capital, but I'll open doors for you. How can I help? I mean, Doone, you start getting those calls and you start feeling that the universe is working for you. So I mean, that's obviously all before the pandemic crippled things. But so I put my money in and took some money from some friends and family. And I was like, let's go. And that's what ended up becoming, I'll show you the first new collection was we did this eyeshadow palette, which was our first foray into powders. And it's one of our best sellers. We did this. We did our liquid lipsticks. Like I said, we were ordering 20, 50 pieces. We did 10,000 of these. This was unbelievable. And then we did this part. So these were the three first sort of level up products we did. This was one of the four that was selected on Oprah's favorite things.
I
Right?
mean, oh my God.
So
Congratulations,
it's crazy.
by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Right? So
That's
it's
so
almost
cool.
this is a story of craziness, grit, resilience, madness, volatility, luck, fucking balls. I mean, and back to crazy again. None of it made sense. But I just was like, let's go.
When you were like changing from ordering 50 of this, 50 of that to 10,000 of this, 10,000 of that, can you tell me how you're marketing and selling that many units and going from selling 50 to 10,000 of a SKU? What's the marketing journey?
So what's interesting, so I think I realized, okay, when you're leveling up in everything. You don't just level up in one bit, right? So you hire the firm who does the new logo, you have these new beautiful packaging. I mean, in the beginning, I was using my iPhone 4 or 10 or whatever it was to take pictures in my garden and post on Instagram. I was like, okay, honey, like you need to get like a proper product photographer now. You need to like get proper like you need some real stuff. This little chicken little thing you're doing is not going to work. So you begin to level up. And so that's what I started to do. I started to kind of look for studios that can do proper product photography. So you know, of course, you look at what other brands are doing. You see their Instagram, you see their websites. It's like, oh my God, guy, like Aisha, you really need to take this up several notches. Because you are where you are. You now have this vision of where you want to be, and you start looking at the various arcs to get there. And you're like, okay, what I'm doing now is not going to get me to sell 10,000 sticks. So you start saying, okay, like, how do I level up? How do I level up? And that, first of all, was imagery. Like, how do we appear differently? How do we showcase our product differently? But for the most part, I want to say a lot didn't change. I have always been the chief marketing officer of this company. Every post you see on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok is me. Right. So I mean, like I said, I don't design the products, although I work very closely. I mean, nothing is designed in this company without me like looking at it 5,000 times and making all of my changes. So my fingerprint is all over the DNA of this brand. But the marketing has always been me. I just work with really amazing people. I work with great photographers, great stylists. Like we did a photo shoot a month or two ago with this really amazing Nigerian stylist, and it was just fucking otherworldly, like an amazing photographer. Just, I work with really amazing people to create really amazing visuals. And so that's kind of what we're doing, is just, leveling up. One of the things that I've always said is I don't want to just be, well, we're obviously no longer just a lipstick company, right? We have eyeliners now, eyeshadows, we're going into blush and highlighter. So we're doing full facial cosmetics as we go along. But I never want to just be about product. I want to talk about content. I want to create content that's super exciting for our audience. I want to create services. So one of the products we launched in 2020, which we're refreshing, is called Beauty Meets Wisdom, where if you spend $50 on the site, we give you a free hour of executive coaching from a professional coach. And so really what we wanted to do is show our customers, we are partnering with you. When we say we want you to look good, feel good, and do good, we mean it. And so we started to lean into things that other brands are not doing. I have a monthly Bossy Chats where I do an IG live with an amazing woman in business, and we talk about the success, we talk about the failures, the challenges, kind of like what you and I are doing right now. We do it on IG live and create sort of evergreen content. So that's what we're doing. I'm trying to walk to the beat of our own drum, listen to our customers, find out what they want, what they need. Sometimes you don't always ask someone what you need. You kind of figure out from when they tell you what their problems are, and you figure out what are the ones that you can use your market position to support.
I mean, I am just like blown away from you and your energy and everything that you're saying. This is so cool, and I love it, and I see it, and I feel it. It's amazing. What is your key piece of advice for entrepreneurs who are going into the beauty industry in 2022?
Apart from all the mistakes I made, please don't repeat them. I just think stay consistent, stay focused, and many times put your blinders on, really know your why. I think, if you follow so many other people on social media, you read all the press highlights, a lot of things can get depressing. Like, this person raised $3 million, this person raised $20 million, this person got into Sephora, like all the dreams you have for yourself, other people are living them. It can tend to be, it can tend to really get to you. And so there's so many times in the journey of Bossy, like we're turning 3 years old in a week. And so we are still a young brand, but there's been several times in the journey of this business where I've said, I can't do this. I'm shutting down. I just can't do this. Right. Especially during the trademark battles. And I'm so grateful that I didn't let those times break me. And so my advice to you who's starting in the beauty industry is you will meet a lot of resistance. You will get a lot of negative feedback. You will get negative reviews. You will get so many no's. You may get a lawsuit. Like, so many different things will come your way. It is actually part of the journey. It's not the message that tells you to quit. It's the message that tests to see whether you are made for this. And so don't interpret bad things happening as this isn't meant to be, I'm going to pack it up. Like, people always say businesses don't fail because they run out of money. They fail because the founder gives up.
Wow. 100%. Great advice. We wrap up every episode with a series of 6 quick questions, some of which we might have covered, some of which we might not have, but I ask them all the same. So question number 1 is, what's your why? Why are you doing what you're doing?
I just love seeing successful women. I love seeing self-actualized women. I love seeing wealthy women. I love seeing happy women. I love seeing fulfilled women. I want that for me. I want that for you. I want that for everyone. And that's my why. It's just like, I just want us all to be amazing, to get what we want, to do what we want, to do good, to have rights, to raise amazing children. If you don't want to raise children, that's fine. Like, to do what sets your soul alight. That's what I want to see women doing.
That is so cool. I'm just so inspired by you. I can't tell you enough. I can't tell you enough times, but oh my gosh. Question number 2, what has been your favorite marketing moment so far, or like the number 1 marketing moment so far?
Oh gosh, like Oprah's favorite things. Are you kidding me? Like, I
You can't
mean,
top that.
I
That's the
mean,
ultimate.
that's the ultimate. And it's one of those things where like you cry. I mean, another thing, like you cry. I've never cried this much in 3 years. Like you cry because you're miserable. You cry because you're happy. You cry because you're confused. Like that was a serious weeping moment, right? Just so I think someone from her team heard about us through one of the small indie retailers that we work with. And I guess she like looked up the site, loved the products, kind of loved the stuff and reached out. And I thought it was like some person asking for free product, you know? I was like, huh, whatever. And that, I mean, it just, and at first I was like, first of all, I didn't believe it. And then eventually, after talking to her, saying she's interested in learning more, she works with Oprah Daily. Eventually, I realized she was telling the truth. And then
You're like, oh, wait a second.
I know. So at first, I was like, she sends me an email. Do you have time to talk? I was like, no, I don't have time. Maybe in 3 months we can speak. Because I thought it was like, I thought it was somebody looking for free product.
Did you say maybe in 3 months we can speak?
Yeah. I said, we can either speak today or in 3 months because my summer is going to be really busy. And she's like, okay, let's speak today. And she calls and we start speaking. And I'm like, whoa, this is like the real deal. And so I send her a bunch of products and the address she gives me is Hearst Magazine's offices. And so then I'm like, this is possible. This is possible. So anyway, we go through this whole process of like, I did a whole deck, which I don't think Oprah saw the deck. I've sent it. I was like, oh, you don't understand. I love Oprah. Like she is my mentor and she doesn't even know me. And so I think it took, she's the queen. I mean, we don't even talk about that. I don't know how long it took because apparently like she has people on her team like suggest, but she makes the final choices. And so that she was like, listen, we'll let you know what Lady O says. And when I got the call, some days I call her Lady O, some days I call her Auntie O. Like Oprah's a member of my family in my head. And it was.
I mean, I cannot even imagine. That's crazy.
And then you've got to keep it confidential for a long period of time. And so you're almost like nervous, like, are they going to change their mind? Are they going to change their mind? Is this really true? Is this going to happen? And then the day it happens, oh,
What is the impact of being one of Oprah's favorite things? Are you able to share like what happens after something like that?
we sold out of everything and then tried to restock and we sold out of that. And then we were able to restock some things. Some things are still sold out because of supply chain issues. So from a sales standpoint, unbelievable. And not just the thing that's Oprah's favorite things, but then what that does is it opens you up to millions of new customers who learn about your products and decide to buy something else or try something else. And people give gifts. And of course, it's around the holiday shopping period. So, I was seeing people buy 10 boxes and, so they're obviously giving boxes to friends. And it's just, so that's 10 new customers you get at once, right? And then, of course, the press coverage. You're in, like, we had a solo piece in InStyle magazine. What? Just like Stylecaster. What? Glamour magazine. What? I mean, what? None of it. It was just insane. It got to the point where my PR team would be like, "Oh, pleased to tell you that you were featured in this," and it got to the point where I was like, I'm too busy packing orders. I don't have time to be. I mean, these are the things that you live for." But now I'm like, okay, we got to not fail. Like, and I mean, so I spent the 2 months because I was so nervous about getting it wrong. Every single, do I have samples of the boxes? I have them over there. Every single box I packed myself. I hired a young lady. We ordered the boxes very quickly, paid extra to get them rushed, had a bunch of boxes. My house was a disaster. Okay. And this lady and we would put on our masks and gloves and we would watch Squid Game or Netflix all day. And we were downstairs just folding boxes, taking lipsticks, placing 4 in a piece, closing it, putting in a bag, loop. Like this was an assembly line. I think it took us all day, every day for about 3 weeks. My fingers, I don't know how they're not like this. It was.
I love how you've gone through some real, I mean, I don't love this for you, but I love you've gone through this journey that's like some super low lows, but those lows have gotten you to here where you've then had these crazy highs and you're like, oh, I went all through all of that, but I kept with it. And now this is the good bit. Like, I'm here. That is so cool. My God. Ay, ay, ay. I digress. Question number 3. What's your go-to business resource when it comes to podcast, newsletter, or book?
So definitely podcasts. I read a lot of newsletters as well, but oh God, I haven't read a full business book in I don't know how long. I just don't have the attention span or capacity any longer, sadly. Podcasts, I love Business Wars. I also really love How I Built This, and it's crazy that I was on How I Built This. Can you imagine? That was another like, what the fuck?
I can't believe I haven't already brought this up. You've chatted to Guy Raz, who's like everyone's hero.
He is Uncle Guy to my kids. Like my kids, when we're going on we're driving long trips, we listen to How I Built This. They know him. And so my kids cannot believe their mother even spoke. I can't believe that I made it through a conversation with Guy Raz. Crazy, crazy.
I can't believe I'm talking to someone that spoke to Guy Raz. Like, what the heck?
It doesn't work that way. So yeah, I really do I like How I Built This, and Business Wars. Those are 2 that I listen to a lot.
I haven't listened to Business Wars in ages. That's a good one. I'm going to check that out again. Question number 4 is, how do you win the day? What's your AM or PM rituals and habits that keep you feeling happy and successful and motivated?
Okay, well, coffee, first of all. Like, if I don't start my day with coffee, in fact, it doesn't start. So first thing, I wake up, I say good morning to my boys. I kind of bumble down the stairs and then I have coffee and then I'm like, okay, how's everybody? Did you sleep? Right. I wake up, get my kids off to school. And then I just, I put a tweet out a couple months ago or so where I said, this year I'm all about build and ship and build. I put my head down and I work. Like if you see my desk, it's filled with papers and makeup and eyeshadows and stuff. Like I'm just do. And then I will go pick up my kids from school and hang out with them for a little bit. And then I come back and do. I get it done. I'm really, I'm getting it done. That's my thing is I know what I've got my little notepad that tells me what's outstanding. I have Post-its all over my office. I have a whole bunch of here, one of them says, don't quit before the miracle happens. Another one says, you are the trophy. And then the other ones just say, don't forget to do this. Make sure you contact this, do this, do this. This one says QVC, JCPenney, Bossy Chats. So I have reminders and as I execute, I throw the Post-it in the trash as I execute. And then I've got a whole bunch of spreadsheets, right? Because this is a business. So I'm tracking, okay, have we made this payment? Where is this boat that's supposed to be bringing this product in? And, there's a lot of logistics involved. So I'm, not all of it. I very rarely look like this. Let's put it only because I knew this was going to be video. Do I look like this? Otherwise, my hair is not combed. There is no makeup on my face. I am wearing my bathrobe with big fluffy socks, and I'm just I'm working.
I'm so on it. Thank you so much for putting on the makeup and the headphones, which ruined your look and your beautiful headband. I actually don't think they ruined the look. I think they actually, you rock it.
No, listen,
I'm all about it.
This is the plan. So when we finish the actual substantive part of this discussion, I'm going to take this off and put on my thing and then smile for a couple seconds and maybe do like a screenshot. We're not doing a screenshot with this. Anyway, that's the vain part of me.
Okay, perfect. Let's do that. I mean, I appreciate it. Don't worry. Question number 5 is, what's the worst money mistake you've ever made in the business and how much did it cost?
Actually, in the beginning, I think I mentioned that I was super insecure about marketing, and I still am, but much less so. But I had no idea because I was not from the beauty industry. I was not from B2C industry. I felt so insecure that I really felt I needed to hire a chief marketing officer to do the things. And so before, I think we hadn't even launched yet. I hired someone to work to basically she was going to be my CMO. And she had worked at L'Oreal for many years. And it was Just the biggest waste of money. Biggest regret of mine. I mean, we move on from it. She's a phenomenal, amazing, brilliant, talented woman. Why I say it was the biggest waste of money and the biggest mistake is that, first of all, I never should have been insecure. I felt like, there's so many nuggets that you need to know as a legacy beauty person to bring to this brand, but that was the wrong way of thinking. What I needed to do was to stick into my why, is to understand my customer and connect those two. It has nothing to do with a legacy brand. And feeling like you need to lean on legacy is the actual problem. And so it's not about her, but it was about my insecurity and my putting money behind my insecurity, and someone who doesn't think the way I think and doesn't see the problem in the way I see it and doesn't see the solution in the way I see it. So I want to be clear that she's an amazing woman, but the whole ethos behind bringing her on board and what I hoped for her to achieve didn't work out because it was not the way you run a company.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, tough one. Tough lesson to learn. Another tough lesson to learn. Last question number 6. And you've shared so many of these already, but what is just a crazy story that you can share, good, bad, or ugly, from the business?
Many, which I think I've shared, but I'll share another one. I'll share another one which I didn't share, which led to lots of tears. So we are on QVC, and our first
This is like live shopping, right?
Live shopping, yeah. So it's they have their own TV stations, internet, and they sell everything literally under the sun. I think they sell 364 days a year live. And we were part of this competition called The Big Find. We were selected, and we had this opportunity to customize a collection for QVC and go live on air. I was so scared, but I just needed to get it done. And so just designing the new collection, getting the supply chain ready was the most stressful thing that I've done from a production standpoint since running this company. And we were down to the wire, and we had just hired a new logistics company to help us sort through everything. To get the good, once the goods all come from Italy, package them up the way QVC wants them, and then send them to QVC, because QVC has a very, very strict process. So I asked the owner of the logistics company, have you worked at QVC before? He says, yes. I'm like, great, because I don't know anything about this. So I send them the QVC book. Unfortunately, they did not staff the person who has worked with QVC before on my account. So literally the blind is leading the blind. I think they know what they're doing. They think I know what I'm doing. So I fulfill my obligations, get my products to them, tell them what to put together. They send everything to QVC. I have posted on Instagram and our website, told the investors, told everybody, we are going on QVC on Tuesday. Friday afternoon, I get an email. Now, by the way, this is again another time where I have put every penny of the business into this thing. So we are riding on this. I get an email on Friday saying from QVC, your goods have failed inspection. You will not go on air on Tuesday. And there's a whole list of things that we did wrong. Everything. Basically, the master carton didn't have the right barcode, that this wasn't that. I mean, it's all stuff that would be of no interest to either you or I, but a logistics company should know what they're doing. So all of the requirements that QVC had so that when something goes into their distribution center, they can track it properly. These guys just, I don't know what they did, but they didn't do it right. So that was the biggest disaster, because I had just emailed the investors that morning saying, hey guys, super excited, put all the money in the company in this thing. Fingers crossed. I'm going to do the best I can. We're going to sell out on Tuesday, blah, 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 like this and this and this. And then I cried all day Friday, and Saturday morning, I then sent them an email saying, I have to own this L as the CEO. We blew it. We're not going to go on Tuesday. I don't know when or if we will go. We're now long, 40,000 more lipsticks than we need. And I don't know what we're going to do with them. It was not funny then, but I can laugh now.
But wait, what happens? Oh my God, tell us the ending.
I know. In the end, luckily, QVC was really good. I got a really nice gentleman in QVC. He was like, oh, I will introduce you to somebody who can come in and repack. I mean, you have to pay for it, but they'll come in, repack everything. So I ended up not going on air for another month, but we ended up doing it. So it all worked out. But at that moment, when I got the failed inspection, I thought, come get your shit. You failed. And I literally was wailing the whole weekend.
Oh my God. I mean, I can imagine.
God, my emotions have been so frayed by this business, and it's only been 3 years.
Your nervous system is like, I am frazzled, but I love it.
I know, basically. I'm frazzled, but I'll still wear lipstick.
Yeah. I'll still show up looking cute.
Exactly. Weather beaten and worn and all.
Oh my God, Aisha, I have loved talking to you. You are just such a ray of sunshine, and I can just so see everything that you're building. I can feel it in the way that you talk about your brand and what you're doing, and your spirit is just like none other. My goodness, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this conversation, Doone. Thank you so much. And I wish your audience, I hope they really enjoy this. I hope they're inspired, and I hope they go on to be billionaire women themselves.
Yes, we need the billionaire energy. I'm all about it.
That's it. We needed the big B energy.
We're going to be watching you. We're going to be learning from you.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Oh,
I'm gonna
wait.
press-
We can't go. We can't go.
Oh, wait. Yeah, okay.
Hold on.
Put the headband on.
we're gonna-
I won't be able to hear you. I can't hear you. It looks amazing. I can't hear you. The sound has disconnected because we've changed the microphone. I don't know if you can hear me.